Listen, guys, whenever it comes to the topic of the best player in the world, it's been pretty consistent with the past decade and such forth within that. We've kind of scattered around with Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Then there were some talks of Steph Curry in 2016. And now, during the time period of last year in 2019 NBA season, when LeBron James joined the Los Angeles Lakers, he was still known as the best player in the world. Halfway through that season, when LeBron got injured, that was something to where people were kind of speculating on Giannis Antetokounmpo, possibly Kawhi Leonard. Some people have been throwing Kevin Durant around since 2017, which that's never been the case of him being the best player, the most skilled player, best offensive player. That's another subject. But in the 2019 NBA season, whenever LeBron returned from being injured, and he was still injured, within that injury he did have, the last 25 games in the NBA season, LeBron playing injured, he couldn't get it done with to where he couldn't unlock, per se, playoff mode to where they lost to the Suns, the Grizzlies, and then Los Angeles Lakers were knocked out by the Brooklyn Nets in the regular season to where they were eliminated from playoff contention. That being said, when LeBron James, for the first time in 8 finals, he's not been in the finals anymore, let alone the playoffs for 2019, everyone had to look onto other players for the last 2.5 months. So people were keeping their eye on Giannis Antetokounmpo, who just won his first regular season MVP, which he was dominant during that season. People were looking still at kind of a Kevin Durant in that same atmosphere. Some people were looking at Kawhi Leonard. And then some people kind of threw around Steph here or there, very little to none. So we were looking at those 3 players. So we had LeBron James, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo, you had Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. But with LeBron being out for the playoffs, everyone was focusing on these 3 players, let alone. Now, when the playoffs started and they finished off, we saw directly that Kevin Durant was hurt. So some people were kind of pushing him away. When it came to the conference finals, we finally got to see 2 out of these 3 players go head-to-head. Giannis Antetokounmpo took the 2-0 lead as the Bucks were over the Toronto Raptors. And we saw with the last 4 games, Kawhi Leonard took control with his team with Nick Nurse. And the Raptors won 4 games in a row with Kawhi Leonard taking down Giannis Antetokounmpo with his experience. That being said, we had the Warriors go against the Raptors in the finals, and we saw Kawhi Leonard took out the Warriors in 6 games, let alone Kevin Durant was hurt that series. A lot of people would have said that the Warriors would have smacked the Raptors in 5, possibly even 6. I thought that series was going 7. Kevin Durant was healthy for all of the games of that series. We did see Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They were here or there, kind of off and on. Klay Thompson did miss Game 3 and Game 6 within the last quarter or so. So that's something to where if there's no Kevin Durant, the Warriors probably still could have won that series. We don't know. That's something to where it'll just be in the history books and people can have their what-if scenarios. We did see is whenever Kevin Durant did play in Game 5, he had the momentum to where the Warriors finally had some of their juice again. Some momentum with Kevin Durant being a super team, super house. And then after that, Kevin Durant got hurt in Game 5. We saw Kawhi Leonard take over. And that being said, guys, the 2019 season's over with. We've entered the 2020 season. During the offseason, my initial opinion was I had LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard 1A, 1B. If you put Kawhi Leonard number 1, I won't get mad at you. He just won the Finals MVP and did take over the Toronto Raptors, which no one picked them to win the Finals. Whenever some people were deciding to put Giannis Antetokounmpo, I can't put him as number 1 because he did lose to Kawhi Leonard in the conference finals after being up 2-0. Now, when it comes to Giannis, he is a dominant regular season force. He can win multiple MVPs for his team, and playing in the Mike Budenholzer offensive system, that team is designed to win around at least 60 games per season. And then lastly, you do have Kevin Durant, who is injured, tore his Achilles, so he's out of this equation. Then we have LeBron James, which he's been proving as the number 1 team in the West. MVP considerations, him against Giannis Antetokounmpo. So there's 3 guys in the mix. Let's hear what these cats have to say about this. Then we can jump in here.
Yes, he has been for a couple years now, or at least last year, and I believe he will be again this year by the time the playoffs are over. Look, there are reasons that people don't see it with Kawhi. I get it. He didn't start in the same place as LeBron or KD, whose transcendent talents were obvious and on display early. Kawhi was a grinder. Kawhi was a power forward in school, right? Kawhi comes out board man gets paid, right? Kawhi comes out of the defensive stopper and little by little gets better and better and better. And because we've seen the journey and we haven't seen the obvious transcendent offensive ability early, like with LeBron and KD, we kind of have that set in our minds. But let's be honest about what's going on. Guys, Kawhi Leonard is not only really during the regular season, he's a half step under MVP level. But during the playoffs, everything goes up. He had one of the greatest playoff series of all time last year. But let's go beat,
Real quickly to chime in, so Kawhi Leonard, during the regular season, he's always kind of not really coasting. He's doing his thing. He is implementing load management, saving himself for the playoffs. He is dominant in the regular season to where he's a notch under an MVP. He's never been in MVP considerations. The only time was in 2016 to where the Warriors were 73-9 with Steph Curry, but underrated. The Spurs were actually 67-15 and the second in the West, but they did lose to the Thunder in the second round. But when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, he's more focused on the playoffs, winning a championship. So when it comes to the regular season, I'm always going to have LeBron James number one. Giannis Antetokounmpo very close, near to him. As we've seen, Giannis Antetokounmpo did win an MVP back in 2019. He's probably going to win in 2020. LeBron's still making the case. Then Kawhi Leonard is probably around the 5th, 6th, just the regular season. But of course, I still have him as a top 3 player of all time when it comes to the season of 2020. But besides that, guys, there's going to be players who's going to be the best during a regular season. But when it comes to the players within here, when it ever comes to the Player of the Year award during the regular season, it's usually going to be LeBron or Giannis Antetokounmpo. When it comes to the playoffs, you're always going to have LeBron. Now with this new era, or actually, well, you had LeBron and Steph Curry. And then now with this new era, you've had Kawhi Leonard to where he did win the championship last season, and he is quote-unquote favorites in the West alongside the Lakers to win the NBA championship and let alone go to the finals. When it comes to being the best player in the NBA and in the world, usually that's implemented through different eras. So this isn't something to where I'll put like Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan all in a year or two going back and forth, flip-flopping. It's usually very consistent with the best player in the world for at least 2 to 3 seasons. Then you have the next cat take it over for like 4 to 5 and such forth. So again, in the past, you had Shaq. Then moving along, you kind of had Tim Duncan and Kobe. Then you had LeBron James take over for a long time period. You had Steph Curry in the mix. Same thing with Kawhi Leonard. Now we're in a situation, guys, where it's kind of going back and forth because you have a lot of elite teams. We don't know if LeBron James can win another championship. So this has been a very weird year knowing the best player in the world is, again, we have 3 to 4 guys. It's always going to either be LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, a healthy Kevin Durant, all up in the mix when it comes to this. When Kawhi Leonard, he did win his first MVP, Finals MVP and championship in 2014. He was a young cat. He was in the league for around 3 to 4 years or so. Just getting started. No one really knew about Kawhi Leonard and his name as much. We did see glimpses of him in the playoffs in 2013, and then 2014 come along to where he did have a stellar finals. He only averaged around the low 20 points. He took over the last couple of games. His defense was stellar on LeBron James and the crew. With that San Antonio Spurs team, the foundation was always on the big three, especially on Tim Duncan. And, whenever it came to the finals MVP, it wasn't a big jump or a big gap that Kawhi did win it in. Now, what he really proved himself was in 2019, whenever he was on his Jordan flow taking down the Warriors. Listen, my man Max Kellerman loves himself the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard and that whole, not kind of propaganda, but he's been going along with that for the past the year or so about the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, about his greatness. Kawhi is great. I somewhat agree with them, but whenever it comes to LeBron James, he's on a mission this year to win the chip. Whenever it comes to a first player winning 3 franchises a championship, 3 finals MVPs, the NBA is not going to allow Kawhi Leonard to do that before LeBron James. That's a storyline to where I agree with the Lakers, as well as everything just seems right to where LeBron will win his 4th championship this year. Now the question is Kawhi Leonard the best player in the world? As of right now, and since he won the championship, I can agree with you if you say yes. I don't have a problem with it. Right now, I have LeBron and Kawhi 1A, 1B. LeBron was hurt. He didn't make the playoffs as they were expected to, but through injuries. Kawhi Leonard, he did take down the Bucks as well as the Warriors, knocking out Giannis Antetokounmpo. So with those two, I don't have a problem with. Now, when it comes to the regular season, if you throw in Giannis Antetokounmpo there, I don't have a problem with that. He is dominant in the regular season. This is something to where he needs more experience, and we need to see him actually get past the conference finals and the finals. That's why this year in 2020 is very important to all Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and LeBron James. So pretty much whoever wins the championship this year can take the throne. So if LeBron wins it, he's going to secure the number 1 spot, as he's pretty much always had. Kawhi Leonard will keep that throne. And then with Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, you can just put him as number 1 in the mix, of course. Listen, in that 2019 run, even though the Warriors were hurt when it came to Klay and Kevin Durant here or there, Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors were not expected to win the championship, let alone. Kawhi Leonard was on his Michael Jordan type X flow, and he did take over. This is the first time to where we've seen him as a true superstar of winning. We've seen glances of it in San Antonio. Of course, he won his first finals MVP, but he wasn't a superstar, let alone a star by then. Whenever Kawhi Leonard in 2016, that's when he started to elevate and really take off as a star in the game. I think that was his first All-Star selection or second, if I'm not mistaken. And then back here, guys, into 2019, this is where we joined the Raptors for the first year, a superstar all around. Before Perkins goes, I've never had Kevin Durant as the best player in the world. Back in the early 2010s, whenever LeBron was on the Heat, KD was on the Thunder, it was always LeBron number 1, KD number 2, no question about it. Whenever Steph Curry came along and took over the league, it was either Steph or LeBron number 1 and number 2. KD was at a number 3. KD joined the Golden State Warriors and changed up the flow of things. A lot of people were then saying, oh, KD's the reason why they're winning, put him number 1, finals MVPs. I don't believe none of that nonsense. I've seen the NBA, all the games where he played in the finals. Impressive, but he's not the sole reason. I still have Steph Curry over Kevin Durant back into 2016 to 2018. Kind of in 2019, now during this time period, KD's on his own team. We can see what he can do with the Brooklyn Nets. But when it comes to those three players, let me hear what Kendrick Perkins has to take on this. Yeah, that is true with Kawhi Leonard. When free agency hit, he had everyone on hold for around a week and probably 2 days. I think it was like 7 to 9 days. Everyone was on still. You had the Lakers, the Raptors, the Clippers. And Kawhi was the main guy in free agency. You got to think about it, guys. Remember, Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant were the top two players in free agency. Mostly everyone was caring about Kawhi Leonard because he won the championship and he was healthy. KD just did tear his Achilles. But even if both players were healthy, I still would have put Kawhi Leonard as the main guy. He just came off the championship. He has the DNA of leading a team to a championship. So whenever I'm looking at, that's another thing. When I'm looking at LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, if I want to pick one player to win a championship, lead my team, and I feel most comfortable and successful, that will happen, it's going to be Kawhi Leonard. With LeBron James, probably 1 or 2 times every 4 years, you're going to win a chip with him. A lot of baggage whenever it comes to Giannis Antetokounmpo. He hasn't won a championship yet. I mean, he's still young, around 26 years old. And then whenever you look forward to Kevin Durant, he couldn't win it in the Thunder. Whenever he joined the Warriors, they were already a championship team whenever he joined there. So that's a good point by Perkins. LeBron James is not the GOAT. I already have him around 5 or 6 all time, probably number 5. I'll make a video of that for another day. Best player in the world, like I said in the very beginning, I have LeBron and Kawhi, 1A, 1B. Very close together. They both have, mostly LeBron has a lot to prove. I think either one of these two players, they're going to win a championship this year. If Kawhi goes back-to-back, he's the undisputed number 1 best player. If LeBron wins it, he's going to stay on his throne as number 1. But that's when it comes to you guys, the best player in the world. Let me know down below what you guys think and what you have.